the interest convergence theory, of course, that interests converge, but I'm also looking at it in terms of, Doc, I don't know at what age did you stop doing multiple choice? Did you stop doing yes or no or multiple choice question, and you got into essay questions? Because we know that it requires much more analysis and critique. So I'm not sure that pushing the world in terms of black and white, pro or anti, is actually playing into the agenda of whoever is promoting BBI. I think there is a more nuanced debate that somebody can say, yeah, especially if now you have given me to mark your work. I will say, while I see weakness here, I'm seeing strength here, I'm seeing whatever here. That does not necessarily make me any melon. It actually takes a lot of brain bundles to unpack this thing. And not simply come. You don't set an exam and come with your own marking scheme that mark it in terms of yes or no. I can say improved or whatever. What does that mean? If I say this can be improved, is that a yes or no? But beyond that, I'm looking at the Kenya we have and where the constitution is going. Even the idea of a prime minister that is selected by the president shows you that we are giving more power to the president. We are not sharing power. They are not president who is anchored on the people's will. It is one thing if a prime minister came and said, I came with my people into this coalition. So, Aukot, if you went to a coalition and we said, you know what, I came with 100 MPs, you will have a say. You will demand some things. You will say, what am I taking home on behalf of the 100 people? Even if you might not reach that home with that thing. But you'll be negotiating in terms of, I am representing people. But when you are picked with the president and you are told from today you are the prime minister, then you are totally lost and you'll simply be getting blames. Vitu ikiharibika, huyu prime minister hafanyi kazi. Unaangusha government, so it cushions the president, but he gets all the benefit. So that is the weakness. We are looking at all these various chapters of the Constitution.
But Doc, there is for me a very fundamental point that we miss. Even as intellectuals, even as academics, even as the learned people, I think what saddens me about this whole debate is how it has become so monolithic. It's like we are a country that cannot think of an alternative or another view. Like you ably say, if I ask you to write an essay, then it gives you a chance to be able to analyze, to look at some level of analysis that you bring on the table. What shocks me is the way in which the entire country today is being boxed into discussing one idea.
Monolithic.
That idea that we are just discussing only one thing.
Right.
Why can't even intellectuals, academics, civil society, the church say, fair enough, it is the right of Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga
to attempt.
They are surrogates, or they are cows, as they like to call themselves.
I like surrogate, but
okay, surrogates. To have BBI. But why can't we also come up with another counter proposal so that we give Kenyans an alternative? And that's why, for me, I still support the idea of Punguza Mizigo.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm going to publish this bill, very soon. I have it. Actually, I'm editing it, so that Kenyans can have a choice. This idea of being boxed, and also, it also saddens me, Doc, when people are saying we don't like BBI. Why don't you like BBI?
Right.
Tell us why you don't like BBI.
Or why you like it.
Or why you like it. What is your alternative to BBI?
Right.
People are just complaining, lamenting, and doing nothing about it.
Doc, I think what you're saying is very profound. Because give it to Raila. Courage.
Yeah.
All the years, people have been complaining. You complain, then you go, you hope you get into ODM, you hope you'll be elected, you are shortchanged again, you cry again. Why don't you start your own thing? The constitution is clear, and they will tell you. Then look at Kenya now. From just the region, look at Kenya. Oh, Raila has abandoned us in opposition, and the question even to Willie Mutunga was, why don't you have been a chief justice?
Exactly.
Why don't you become the opposition? Where did you see in the job description of Raila that he must always be suffering and be tear gassed? Where?
See, Doc, one of the things that for me disappoints me, that's why I'm even saying even these so-called academia intellectuals are just intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
Because people read what is opposition from a very myopic angle. That you must be elected and must be in parliament to play opposition politics. I see opposition politics simply from the perspective that if you have an alternative view to government, including even policy, and you're not supporting that government, but you also propagate your idea among people, that is opposition.
It is.
You know, have an alternative opposing policy. But in this country, the reason we've been boxed into this narrative over time is because we have become chattels. We have become property. We are owned by certain individuals who now say, that's why they will say, I come into this BBI with 170-something MPs. You don't own them. You know, you don't own votes. But you see, that is the dominant narrative now in our political discourse. That so-and-so comes with a region. So-and-so owns this region. My MCS, you'll even say my MCS. Even on the Sonko case, he had his 57 MCS. Those MCS are forgotten. They actually were elected from various wards to represent the people of those respective wards in the county assembly, not to go and sing and dance in the name of a governor.
But for impeachment, they're saying we are opposing it, so we are yours against impeachment. But you see, Doc, what I'm supporting, that people lack courage. People, even this show and all my colleagues who go to shows, our job is to go and lament and whine. Oh, what did they do to us this time? Oh, my goodness. Oh, this government is insensitive. Oh, they are going to increase the university fee 3 times. Oh, my goodness. God will see them. So the lamenting work is very easy. And that is where most of our people are. That we simply do what? Lament. We simply, somebody come with their own BBI. And then you come and say, I don't like it. And you don't have alternative. And that is why then you are very different. Because you are not at the level of just lamenting, you are at the level of alternative. And that is what we lack in this country. And that is why I was saying Raila have a lot of courage. People will complain, but you are complaining on his way of doing things, but you are not bringing any alternative. So what do you want people to do? So if I go to Lowland and tell all these people why BBI is bad, but I don't have alternative. If I tell them why ODM is not good, but I have no courage to say this is the alternative, then it is purely academic exercise. And that is why, to me, I'm thinking that we must understand that as long as there is nothing different, these people will know. And they will be saying the right thing, that I own this region, because they actually do. It's a factual statement.
No, it is true. People like Raila and others actually own regions, and they even own people. We can joke about it, but for me, I faced that wrath last year when I was trying to promote Punguza Mizigo Kenya in all the 47 counties of Kenya. There are some places I could not go because I was told, no, you are not welcome, because Mutietu, our leader, has said you cannot step here. I was not even welcome. They will not even table that bill. They call it that thing. They did not even call it a bill. They call it that thing. You know? So they were speaking of it with a lot of disgust. And why? Because somebody somewhere is pulling the strings. You know, what is this called? Is it puppets or marionettes? You know, people have become puppets of certain political leaders. So in the context of Kenya, I know theoretically nobody can own another human being. But I think politically, the truth be told,
factually,
people are owned. People are owned.
Kwa ground
mambo ni tofauti. So,
but you see, even there's even a right way of being owned. If you decided to be owned, submit to the good puppet master. Because, even a donkey, some donkeys suffer more, some donkeys suffer less based on the honor of the donkey, ownership. So, if the donkey had a choice, you will look at how does this guy deal with this donkey? Vis-a-vis, how does person X deal with his donkey?
So you are giving a donkey a choice to be owned by either
multiple choice.
Even that is a choice. Yes, be a donkey to a good master, but it is bad to be a donkey and then decide to be the donkey to the worst master.
But I think the challenge, Doc, is whether one has capacity or even the intellectual acumen to determine that this is a better master, this is a worse master. If you don't know, then you will be owned by the worst.
At the beginning, now that he has opened it, there's a preamble that we are donkeys. So, as a donkey, there is in mind that you can expect in terms of mental capability. But anyway, moving forward as well, there's a document that have been made, which is BBI. They have said you want to unite the country. This thing is going to fix a lot of problems. Vijana, story yenu itaisha, wa mama, shida yenu itaisha. But then again, you want people to oppose it. Why is it that the proposers of the document are forcing people to oppose it? I saw the Gideon Moy that they were saying, no, there's no flip-flopping yesterday. Mudavadi saying, no, they're not, you should go, choose a side, go to the north, then we start fighting. Kina Orengo and Raila Odinga. If you want this document, why are we forcing people to oppose? And there's one thing that I agree with the Deputy President, somehow. That he mentioned that there are people who also think like him. Like this is not a good document. You could also think the same thing. I mean...
No, I don't think BBI is a good document.
I'm saying you think it's not a good document. Yes. You're against it. There are many Kenyans who think it's not a good document. Yeah. And they prefer a conversation on the table. It's not about now, since you've said, go on the other side and then we start fighting. Why is it that the ODM brigade and the BBI proposals are so adamant at pushing some people to oppose it? Is it more of a political duel than an issue of referendum? Is it maybe a preamble, maybe a preview of 2022?
Let's be honest. One thing I've learned about our country, and it pains me a lot, even though we are actually a country of pretenders. One of the things that has been said about Kenya is that we are one of the most educated country in sub-Saharan Africa, especially per capita. I think only Zimbabwe, sometimes back, actually beat us in terms of per capita. Even Nigeria with its big population does not beat Kenya in terms of education. So in this sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya does very well in terms of education. But now, I have come to the realization that we are actually just passengers in these colleges, in universities. We just sit and we leave these institutions without an education, without an informed mind. And one of the problems I see even right now as we discuss about BBI, that people have refused to read and analyze this document, to look at the pros and cons of this document. People have refused to say, why can't we have another alternative? So that's one of the major problems. We have got blind political followers, and it goes back to the analogy of political ownership, where people are being owned. And if you are owned, if you are a slave, your master decides everything for you. A slave cannot say, the moment you become, you begin to interrogate the decision of your master, you are flogged. You are tied under a tree and you are flogged. And this is exactly what's happening in our country today. That people have refused to think for themselves. Others are thinking for them. Like now, look at the lies. Let's unpack some of the lies in BBI. To say that let's amend the constitution to give Kenyans a tax holiday, is that even a constitutional issue? No. Every year, every financial year, whenever you have got a new budget, taxes are almost revised. There's a discourse around taxation, whether which goods you want to tax less, to tax more. A taxation is not a constitutional issue. It's actually an administrative, it's a policy, it's even a legislative issue. When we amended the VAT Act, is it last year, to tax certain commodities, why didn't we discuss that in the context of the constitution? So one of those people have refused even to look at the lies. If you want to give Kenyans who have got help or given help, these are higher education loans. 7 years moratorium. Why do you need to put it in the constitution? You see, some of the sweeteners in these PBI documents are pure lies. Complete lies. Somewhere in this document it says that we should be proud of our black skin. and that we should now retrace where our ancestors came, why they left where they came and came to settle to Kenya. How is that a constitutional issue, honestly? What will be the work of historians?
We live better when we find out where we came from.
So honestly, I mean, some of these lies, for me, is what makes me wonder, hey, are we even educated as a people? Do we even have the capacity to be able to interrogate ideas? There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with BBI, but I think also give a reason why you are disagreeing with BBI. For me, I think there are just too many lies, and as a country and as a people, we have allowed ourselves to be boxed into it. That's why you can even see some people still claiming that, no, say no to BBI, but let's implement the current constitution. I agree with them. We can actually choose to implement this current constitution. But we should also go beyond Bitok and say, who then do we want to entrust with the implementation of the constitution? Yes. Because the same people who are now driving the narrative of BBI actually have been in government for at least the last 10 years, if I recall. Even more by the even more during even the constitution making process from 2009 up to the promulgation in 2010. All these people have been in government, actually even in one coalition government at one point or the other. They are the same people who are choreographing this narrative of one unity Kenya because they want to create a coalition for 2022 and they will be in government. So when we say let them implement the constitution, they are, first of all, they have no capacity to implement the constitution. Secondly, they have not even read this constitution. Because if they have read this constitution, right from, say, for example, Article 6, let's even talk about devolution in the context of Sonko's tribulations. The Constitution says there has to be cooperation and consultation between the two levels of government, the national government and the county government. And therefore that you must now devolve services to each and every part of the Republic of this country.
They are interdependent, yes.
They are interdependent, distinct and interdependent. Yes. You know, we've never seen that cooperation for the last almost 10 years of the existence of this Constitution. The Constitution also says, for you to effectively deliver services to each and every part of this country, you can actually transfer those functions. If those functions can be well realized in one level of government, that's Article 187 of the Constitution. And that transfer comes with resources. So that today, if I want to serve the people, say, of Oma Bay or Mandera effectively, I don't have to hoard and hold a function here at the national level when I know if I transferred it with the requisite resources, the people of Mandera or Moyale or Marsabit will be served better. And then the Constitution also says, even when that function is yours nationally, you can still retain that function by dint of an agreement. And that is specified in Article 189 of the Constitution.
And the Supreme Court actually yesterday buttressed that you cannot do that, even those conditional grant, until you have an agreement.
An agreement. So this thing of people saying, oh, it's my function, I'm holding it at the national level, it's because they have not read the Constitution. If the idea is to serve the people of Kenya through the Constitution, through the resources that we collectively own as a country, through this Constitution, why are you holding onto a function when people are suffering? Even things like, for example, by the way, security. Matiang'i doesn't have to go around here flaunting himself and claiming that, you know, the security docket is mine. When today, me, coming from Kapedo, people are dying in Kapedo today as we speak. There are raids from neighboring, Pokot. People in Kwamosing are dying. People in Isiolo. There's insecurity. But the Constitution allows Matiang'i, for example, to say, let me transfer this function to, say, Governor Mohamed Kuti in Isiolo or Nanok in Turkana, but under an agreement.
Share the security.
It can even be a supervised. It can even tell him, I want you to report to me every day how you have ensured security is realized in your country. That doesn't take away the power from Matiang'i as the minister. It actually serves the people of Kenya more effectively. So when people say, and this is the argument I've had with the Honorable Mother Karua, one time I asked Karua, you know, this thing you keep on saying that let's implement. Tell me who will implement this constitution. Today, do you expect President Uhuru, when he comes back, either as a prime minister, because I'm told that's one of the, Uhuru wants to do a Putin on us. He wants to amend this constitution so that he comes in as a prime minister, like the way, you remember the scenario of Putin and Medved, the then president of Putin had served his term of presidency for like two times because the constitution does not allow. So he went back and came back as a prime minister, but actually he was still the president. And then when his term ended, he came back now as the president, up to date. I'm told that's what Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do for this country through this BBI. He knows that constitutionally his 2 terms are ending in 2022. So he will amend the constitution to create the prime minister. Then he comes in as a prime minister. He can put Raila there as a puppet president because most likely that's what will happen.
To keep him busy.
But he'll still be the president. You know? So the problem I have is we cannot entrust the current political crop, especially those who have been for the last 10 years, to implement this constitution. That's why they are busy mutilating it. They are busy clawing back on the gains of political gains that we made.
All right. Ojwang, why is the BBI group so adamant at having the deputy president or other politicians oppose it? If Aukot today declares his misgivings on the BBI, they would be told, no, don't lecture us, go to the no side, then we start fighting. Why are we saying now? We are saying we want to pass this, but we are telling you, no, don't support it, don't come here. Stay on the other side. So they can. Why are we seeing such level of adamance?
Because I think for politics, and as Dr. Aukot have said, for politics, to be fat, you are being fattened to be destroyed. Because I've sharpened this knife. It's like for those who went for village dances, I never did. They will sharpen a knife and wish there is a war, or carry a big rungu. And you are just there wishing, let somebody cause trouble. Leo, I'm ready. So if this person does not cause trouble, then you are deflated. But you know, if you bring your document, you cannot again tell me how I should respond to it. That is unfair. My response, my choice. So if I decide to be watermelon on it, if I decide to say yes, if I decide to say no, if I decide to ignore and say talk to the hands because my ears cannot hear, you cannot prescribe to me how to respond to your shoddy document. I mean, isn't that the epitome of arrogance?
You know, Doc, I'm not I've never read marketing, but I think I know something little about marketing. I think the proponents of BBI are very poor marketers. You either accept their document or you don't. And once you even question it, you become an enemy of their process. So they are very poor at selling this document.
No, but maybe they are poor by design. You know, you might think it is random, but it is meant. It is meant to be that way, so that we can defeat you. You know, you are minding your own things. You probably had your goals on how to survive Corona. You probably are just moving from quarantine center to now go back and check your business. And then, boom, somebody has pulled you to a BBI fight. You are not ready for that fight. And then on top of that, that's why now I have to prescribe to you how to respond. You know, we have, when you are stuck, even on a snow, on snow or mud, somebody will tell you, stop digging deeper. Stop spinning the wheel. Because the more you spin, the more you are actually getting stuck. That is exactly what is happening here. And I think that is what people like Honorable Martha Karua are telling the president. They're not saying he's worthy to implement the constitution, but saying in reality you have taken the oath and you are the president. Rather than digging deeper and destroying the constitution further, mutilating it, just stay there and finish your term. So I don't think they're saying that it's an endorsement that they have confidence that they will implement the constitution, but they're simply saying, if you know, almost what doctors do, they do no harm theory, that if you can't improve patient condition, don't make them worse. And I think that's what they're saying.
But the question is, Ojwang, why the pressure to have people opposing it?
Why the pressure? Because, you know, look at even the issue of pastoralist. The pastoralist went with good faith that they wanted some things improved. The 1 man, 1 shilling is entrenched. The new constituency is coming with CDF and is based on population and no other factor. Yet representation is not about population, but interest. Then now they have been given a shout out, simply to Nawatambua kind of thing. In the BBI, we recognize your hustle as pastoralist. And then now the constitution, the BBI is supposed to be friendly to the pastoralist. This thing given to youth is more of a shout out. By the way, I recognize you youth. Okay, now I've something for youth. I think that Bitok, to answer you directly, the reason that people must oppose it is because when Raila refused to go back for the second election, he deflated Uhuru's victory. It wasn't sweet. Even among the Jubilee supporters, when Raila was not in the ballot, they refused to show up and vote, didn't they? Because the narrative had been us versus them. So when Raila and his team decided to not go for the second vote and to contest, then the voter turnout was very low. Meaning in Kenya, people are dichotomous. People respond to threat. People go to ballot to deal with the threat. So if even in Nyanza, Ruto do not oppose BBI, then there is no motivation of voting for it. And so they want higher voter turnout because they know that the other referendum was passed by about 57, 60-something percent.
2010.
Yes, the 2010 constitution. Yes. So voter turnout, higher voter turnout, to make it also a political statement for 2022. It will not be a political statement if only 20% of Kenyans turn up. It will not be a political statement that, see, I've told you. You see, this is how I'll deal with him in 2022. You saw now, nimekuonyesha tu kidogo. 2022 will be now, whether now you put Wembe ni ule, put Bantu Aksa, Wembe ni ure, whatever. Now you can't say that when there's only a paltry 20-30% voters turnout. So for this to have meaning and statement and message for 2022, it must be a contest I must win. Finally, the Constitution itself raises threshold. And I see a Constitution there. You know the threshold, Dr. Aukot. What does it take for referendum to be? It has to have a certain threshold of voters in majority of counties.
It's like just the election. What like is winning the presidency?
Yeah, what is the threshold?
I think it's 20. Is it 25%? Yeah,
at least 25%. In 25.
Although in a referendum, there's a big debate about whether we have a law. This has been debate for quite some, so they haven't really. I think there is a bill in Parliament to
prescribe that. There is a bill that is coming. I saw Irungu tweeting that is coming. So if you must have at least 25% of registered voters.
Yes.
Do you know it's not easy to get that? If this thing is not hyped up, if this thing is not contested, that even in Nyanza, in by-election, we usually have a voter turnout Bitok of about what, 30-40%? You can easily have this thing, and you'll have even those bases. You might not get the 25% voters turnout. So how do you motivate them to come?
So it has to be competition.
You must tell them, drink this poison and it will kill Ruto immediately. Yeah. So you must convince them why this poison you are giving them and giving them to drink will not kill them, but will kill their enemies. But without that,
let's all drink. But now it will kill this other person.
But I think Dr. Ojwang is raising a very fundamental point, which we now really must discuss further. And this is we the people. If you look at this constitution, it says
preamble.
We the people. Look at the preamble. It says we the people. We have recognized certain things. We have done. We have all these things. It doesn't talk about that man Ruto or that man Raila or Uhuru Kenyatta. The Constitution doesn't say that. It says we the people of Kenya. We have acknowledged supremacy of the Almighty God. We are honoring who heroically struggled to bring freedom and justice about. We are proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity. In fact, when I read about that, I just say we are liars. Are we actually proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity as a people? I think we are not. And determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. We are divided around this kind of thing by individuals. We say we are respectful of the environment, which is the heritage. Yeah, we are committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. I mean, when you read this preamble, you just realize how we are such liars. And that we are recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. Exercising our sovereign. And then lastly, we adapt, enact, and give the constitution to ourselves and to our future generations. So as we make this constitution, as it becomes a duel between political players, where are the people of Kenya? And this is the fundamental point that Doc has actually raised.
Yeah.
While the followers will be told, hii sumu kikunywa itaua Ruto lakini haitaua wewe nyinyi. It is those leaders actually competing for them, for their own ego, for their own self-preservation. But now, where are we the people? Why can't we make this decision and say, okay, this proposal that they are making, how are they of benefit to me or to our community, to the family, you know, to the nation we call Kenya? If today this BBI is actually dividing leaders at the very top, and people have said this, and I think it's a point we need to emphasize again and again. If BBI is dividing the leadership of this country, how then can it unite the people who follow them blindly? And this is why you will find people in the informal sector or slum areas or certain regions hate the other for no apparent reason. Just because leader X has said, I don't like the people from region Y. You know? And this is the idiocy of us as a people. This is the mediocrity we actually need to cure amongst us. You know, and when you even have leaders openly saying, sisi ni ng'ombe ya mtu fulani. Yeah? I mean, I'm not lying. This was Mohamed Junet who said it. Sisi ni ng'ombe ya Raila. Whatever atasema. You know, when a leader says that in a public podium, na huyu ni mtu ako na bibi, ako na watoto, where is even the self-respect that we talk of?
The self-preservation.
Yeah, self-preservation. So, I think while yes, it can be a duel for those people fighting towards 2022, Doc, but now we need to bring back this debate to the people of Kenya and ask, where is your role as a... Because at the end of the day, those people alone cannot vote and pass this constitution. Their votes are only one. Each one of them has one vote. It is again the people who will actually vote to even reach that threshold.
25%.
25%. You know, so it's the people. So at the end of the day, whereas it is a duel contest between these few individuals,
there needs to be a space for the people.
There has to be space for the people. And that's why for me, when I was conceptualizing the Punguza Mizigo Constitutional Amendment Bill, I chose either of the two options. Parliamentary initiative, but because I was not in parliament and I'm not in parliament, I chose the popular initiative, which is go to the people with general propositions. If they buy into it, then draft a bill, go to IEBC. Now, in BBI, we see a reverse order. It started with the two individuals saying, let's establish what ails this country.
And then we give them that
pact between the two of them. Fair enough. And I've kept on saying, is it possible, supposing the president of Kenya was accessible to even 100 Kenyans, who says we have got what we call shared prosperity between you and me? Yeah, seriously. That you and I have shared prosperity.
Me and the president, we don't let's have some shared prosperity.
At least with 100 people. And now everybody comes with a BBI with the president. 100 BBIs.
That will be better than 2.
Exactly. And then they say...
You know, shared prosperity sounds very nice until you have to share something.
Then they say, let's find out what ails this country. And I will repeat it again here. We talk. And let's not run away. What ails this country has been established in a number of commissions. Starting, for example, even from the TGRC. I think TGRC was the most recent, 2013, if I'm not wrong. You know? Then there was this Constitution of Kenya. There was the Kriegler Commission.
There's the Waki.
There's the Waki. There's the Akiumi. There's the Ouko. There's I don't know who. So many. Ndugu Commission on matters land, irregular allocation, and land. All those reports have actually established what ails this country. But BBI is very silent on all those issues. And wait a minute. The other thing, Doc, what ails this country is a number of politicians who believe they must occupy the political space. And in their quest to occupy the political space, they are actually causing chaos and disharmony in this country. BBI has not told us how do we deal with those individuals who refuse, for example, even to accept the results of an election, and instead tell people, let's go and cause chaos. How do we deal with vigilante groups that are owned by certain individuals? We have had so many vigilante groups in the Baghdad Boys,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Is this Bangladesh or Baghdad Boys? Yeah. Kuna ile inaitwa ni somewhere in Kisii, I think there's
Chinkororo. Wenye walipiga mshale William.
All those groups. Are we addressing those issues? Especially, are we addressing the violent politics every election? We are not addressing those. In fact, BBI is weakening institutions. For example, when they say every time that let's disband, for example, the electoral management body every election, we are not strengthening institutions within the constitution. We are actually weakening them. We are cherry picking and saying let's pick Ojwang because Ojwang will favor us. Now there was a proposal, political parties pick election management body, management body. Honestly, you are a player. You are being told pick a referee. Even just by that simple analogy alone, we are not serious.
Right. Even as we close the discussion on the constitutional amendments, I want us to look at the process so that I can give you a rejoinder as well, Ojwang, but just so that you can have it in mind.
That's fine.
About the process of collecting signatures. They've already declared that they've conducted 4.6 million signatures. According to participated in collection of signatures, I'll give it to you as well. But what is the process? Because there have been complaints from Kenyans that we are forced to sign this document. Watu wa vikazi kwa vijana wanasema tumelazimishwa.
It took me over 1 year to collect 1.4 million signatures. Over 1 year, and I use both technology and physical forms. We went to the marketplaces, to the bus stop terminuses, and we managed to collect, and then we had to input them, to put them down into an Excel spreadsheet so that we're able to take it to IBC, both in soft copy and hard copy. So it's not a simple exercise, it's a very laborious exercise. What BBI team is doing, and I can tell you this for free, they are actually lying that they have got those signatures. I'm sure these signatures either have been stolen from the electoral register and already planted, and I will challenge them. Because even yesterday, I don't know whether you saw, I tweeted, they put my name that I have signed, I've endorsed the BBI. You've not seen a certificate?
Oh, yeah.
There was a certificate showing that Ekuru Aukot has endorsed BBI. They even gave me a reference number. Go to my timeline, you will see it. So they are lying to Kenyans. They are putting people's names. They are, it's like the way the Okoa Kenya, was it in
2016? Was it 2016?
2015, thereabouts. They went to M-Pesa, they just got M-Pesa registers and they put people's names. This BBI is doing the same thing, trust me. Because I'm yet to meet a Kenyan who actually supports BBI. Even on this table, I can even take a vote right now.
So you feel it was not procedural?
No, it was no. Those signatures, to be honest with you, one, I think they are fake, or they are just putting people's names into those forms.
What about the procedure? Does government has authority to tell you to sign a document?
Of course, it's unprocedural, and it's even unconstitutional. They are even forcing people before you get service. In fact, the stories now we are hearing, if you go to a chief's camp seeking some services, even to get a form, unaambiwa sign up kwanza. So they are forcing people.
You saw another chief in funeral.
Yes.
As eulogy is going on, he was going around with his form. Because you have been given a target.
And there is intimidation.
Yeah, but you see, here is where
I think, Ojwang, you had picked up that conversation on the signatures last week, the other week coming. So I don't know. Let's look at it from a point of constitutionalism.
Right. Yeah. Because it's a popular initiative run by government. So, of course, that has been challenged by even Governor Kibwana, that can government.
Public officers.
It is like a grown-up going to restaurant and ordering from a kid's menu. No, popular initiative is kids menu. It's for people who are not in the power. You cannot use public resources, public personnel and money to do a popular initiative. And you can see when the people say, but this is a government project. It's a government project. We must support it. How can that be a popular initiative?
Exactly.
But again, I look at Kenyans who go and are told sign here, and they're saying, no, I don't want to sign. And then they're told, do you want kazi mtaa? And then they sign. I have two people to blame there. I have that Kenyan first to blame. People have gone to jail. Yes. Fighting for changes in this country. Kina Raila were tortured for years. You cannot refuse kazi kwa vijana, you must sign, and then you go post in Twitter. You are the people failing this country. That is number one. Let us not mix that. Of course, they have taken advantage, or you are just vulnerable, you needed pocket money or whatever nonsense. You are a bad Kenyan. You are not patriotic.
You are the problem.
Yes. That Kenyan who went to the chief for service, akaambiwa sign here. But because you had to sign, and then you come complain later, you are failing Kenyans. You are then most selfish. Kwanza mimi nikikupata unafaa uchapwe viboko sana. You are not a victim. When you're mbaya saidi, because Okuru, this is the same culture hata kwa voting.
Yes.
Huyu yenyewe tulazimishwa tu nayo haki. Na umemvotia. These Kenyans, identify them. Bitok, you have capacity with your show to identify them and bring them for disciplinary action. Let us start from there. Now let us
or also use the chiefs. Nobody has a monopoly of using chiefs.
Let us fix this country one block at a time. Any Kenyan, any civil servant, I saw some civil servant in a harsh tone. By the way, nilazimishwa kusign. Some on these Kenyans trick them that kuna sawadi yao. Wakisha kuja kwa room, you know, there's a time prosecutor in Chicago did that. There were a lot of people who owed child support. And you see child support in the US, you must pay, whether you are COE or Kenya, where they only show up during funeral. there, oh my goodness, when I was working as a public defender,
you even fear to die in this country.
We even attached somebody's teaching license. So he could not teach until I'm a lip up child support. There is somebody who won lottery. Then akawa na his sweet new girlfriend. He went abroad and he posted to us that is what? I'm not going to pay child support nini. Do we know we attached the passport? Yeah. And when he came to come back, akamwambia, sir, this passport is attached. You must call the child support, the nini office, public defender office, for you to nini negotiate. Before we release that passport, you come back to the US, you must pay at least $3,000 for child support. Na hiyo pesa ya lottery hataki mchezo. So there is a time the prosecutor became very innovative. And then the most funny thing is, one time I saw somebody who owed big child support. Amekuja court, t-shirt imeandikwa the father of the year. So what the prosecutor did this time, he found all those who owed child support. Akawatumia a message at you have won, kuja kwa hiyo hoteli. Hey bwana. Ndio hao wamekuja with their pink shoes, suits and all that. Unafika huko, chain ndani. Some of them wali realize mbona watu wana disappear haraka, wakatoka mbio, wakafukuzwa, wakanini. This is what should happen to these fools. You know, there's no word for a fool except that they are fools. I mean,
you cannot romanticize it.
No, there's only one word for a fool. You have capacity to tweet.
I thought they said they are intelligent fools or idiots.
all this variety of them. You have power to tweet. You know what is wrong.
Exactly.
Asleep. You can even tweet about it. I mean, you have goosebumps. But to even involve us in this nonsense, finally, yes. So these people find them for me. But secondly, I'm looking at it in terms of we cannot ignore the human agency or human action, and that is where the politicians come in. That they have strong human action. You said we have several reports. Do you remember the TGRC? Do you know BBI does not even address the issue of land injustice? Which winner takes all. The reason we have divisive election is land.
Exactly.
Does it take a brain surgeon to determine that? That one of the reasons we have divisive election is because of historical land injustice.
Yes.
Now, BBI and in imperial presidents, you can use chiefs.
But you know the number one thief of land in Kenya, Doc?
Yeah.
When you read the Ndungu Commission on irregular and illegal allocation of land,
Yeah.
the number one thieves of land are the people in government, strictly in that order.
Yeah.
Especially people in administration, people who have been presidents, those who
Absolutely.
have been MPs, all those people.
People who are bringing the bridges.
Exactly. People who have built, bring the bridges.
The bridge owners.
So you have to start with them. They are the people who have even. I remember even 2010 when we were doing this chapter on land, chapter 5, land and environment. Do you know we came across one of the political leaders today, who are actually in BBI, who had a title deed of a part of Mombasa Road. Yes.
Niaki.
Even Procession Way. You know that road that comes from State House to Serena. Somebody had a title to it.
And you see the BBI.
And they are very active right now politically.
Tunasikia hata kuna mtu anataka told airport. Kuna jamaa alienda kuna negotiate kuuza airport.
And you see BBI now mentioned that we will respect private property. And you can tell that this person is securing themselves.
But Article 40, sub-article 6 of the Constitution is already respecting private property.
Maybe we will respect it more. There's different degree of respect to private property. But you see, the reason I'm bringing that up is that I'm looking at our kins in South Africa with similar constitution. The conversation is about here we can't even do minimum and maximum acreage. Especially the maximum acreage, you know, which is in the constitution.
It is.
Up to now, it cannot be done for obvious reasons. Maximum acreage will affect some people who have land that are so big. Now, in South Africa, the constitutional moment is about reallocating illegally acquired land. That is the progress. That is progress. That is now improving the document and saying, okay, we talked of land, but now we cannot protect private property willy-nilly because people can have title without entitlement.
And
and that's what we have.
Going to step further.